Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Sussex Champions. I'm so glad you're here. This is a brand new space where we talk pop culture, media narratives, women-led projects, and the stories behind the headlines that actually deserve our attention. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, well, you're officially part of the family now. Today, we're diving into Sundance, documentaries, Girl Scout cookies, and yes, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, once again proving that she knows exactly how to move in both Hollywood and the non-profit storytelling space. Let's get into it. One thing Meghan has always understood, long before royal life and long after stepping away from it, is media strategy. Around her Sundance appearance for the premiere of Cookie Queens, she made sure every major trade paper had access. And that matters. Because Sundance isn't about red carpets for the sake of it. It's about credibility, filmmaking, and industry respect. Cookie Queens isn't a vanity project. It's an independent documentary directed by Elisa Namias and executive produced by Meghan and Prince Harry through Archewell Productions. Meghan joined the project 2 years ago, after Namias approached her specifically because of her background as a former Girl Scout. That detail alone tells you this wasn't random. This was intentional. At its core, Cookie Queens is about Girl Scouts, but not in the way people might assume. Yes, it's about cookies, but it's also about economics, goal setting, sales strategy, confidence, and financial literacy, skills young girls are rarely encouraged to master early. Meghan has been clear about why this resonated with her. She didn't just like the nostalgia, she believed in the message. She saw young girls learning microfinance, independence, and leadership, all wrapped inside a familiar tradition. As she put it, these are tools you don't always realize will shape your entire life until much later. And honestly, that perspective tracks with everything she's done since Archewell Productions launched. Meghan and Elisa Namias sat down with Variety, and the interview was refreshingly normal, warm, curious, human. We got the fun stuff. Meghan admitting her favourite Girl Scout cookie is Thin Mints, crumbled over vanilla ice cream, which frankly sounds elite. Namias calling lemonades the sleeper hit, a big iced lemon cookie that actually gives you your money's worth. But more importantly, we got insight into why this documentary works. Namias talked about how Meghan immediately understood that this film was about so much more than cookies, and how rare it is for someone to take a chance on an observational documentary where there's no guaranteed ending. That's a risk. And Meghan took it. One of the most interesting parts of the interview was Meghan reflecting on selling cookies herself, before social media, before digital tools, when it came down to smiling, being kind, and learning how to meet a goal. She spoke candidly about how young girls are often discouraged from talking openly about finance, math, and economics, and how early empowerment in those areas is crucial. That's not fluff. That's lived experience, and it's exactly why Cookie Queens works. It meets girls where they are, without talking down to them. This project fits perfectly into Archewell Productions' broader vision. Educational, inspirational, uplifting, stories that don't scream for attention, but linger with you afterward. Meghan described it as a kind of hide-the-vegetables storytelling. You come for one thing and leave with something deeper to think about. And let's be honest, this was never going to be a production company churning out dark, dystopian, misery bait content. That was never the vibe. Community is the through line. Always has been. Now, this part matters. Meghan spoke about With Love, Meghan, and the sheer workload behind it. 17 episodes in a single year, on top of pre- and post-production. That's intense. And yet, for months, critics have been loudly insisting the show was a flop, or that Netflix cancelled it. But when you actually listen to Meghan, it sounds far more like this. She tried something new, enjoyed it, learned from it, and decided she'd rather focus her time and energy elsewhere. That's not failure, that's choice. And the people screaming the loudest about cancellation seem far more invested in the narrative than the reality. Meghan also touched briefly on returning to acting in Close Personal Friends, describing it as fun, which is kind of the whole point. She's exploring, producing, supporting other creatives, playing in different lanes without being boxed into just one identity. And Cookie Queens? It's a prime example of that freedom. This is a film made with care, intention, and respect for its subjects, and I genuinely think audiences are going to love it. I'll admit it, after reading and talking about this documentary, I'm craving tagalongs and suddenly wondering where on earth the Girl Scouts in my area are selling cookies. I haven't tried the lemonades yet, but now I feel like I have to. More than that, though, Cookie Queens reminds us why stories about girls, community and growth still matter, and why Meghan and Harry's production choices continue to make sense, no matter how loudly some people complain. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Sussex Champions. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe, share, and come back for the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves, support good stories, and maybe buy a box of cookies if you see them.